All right, I want to move on now to another issue. Victoria is already the highest taxing state in the country. It's also the state hardest hit by COVID, meaning the small business recovery is much slower. Yesterday, well, it all got a little bit worse with the Andrews government announcing a so-called trial of a new scheme to pay sick leave to as many as 150,000 casual workers across industries that include hospitality and retail. Now, unsurprisingly, we're told it could be business footing the bill via a new tax that'll end up being put at the bottom of your restaurant bill. But only, of course, after taxpayers are forced to spend over $200 million for the first 2 years of this special wages deal. Wes Lambert is the CEO of the Restaurant and Catering Association. He joins me now from Melbourne. Wes, for the life of me, I can't fathom this. We've had 6 lockdowns in Melbourne. We know that the sector, CBD in particular, is on its knees. People are not coming back into restaurants and other venues in the city. They're really struggling. But the Premier wants to hit you with a new tax when we already know that casual workers, by virtue that they don't get sick leave, get a higher wage per hour. So how does this make sense?
It doesn't make sense. It's actually going to lead to double dipping. It means that the casual workforce that gets loading will also be able to access on top of that sick leave, which means they get more than part-time and full-time employees in terms of entitlements. So we're scratching our heads. We always thought that the labor policy was that everyone got the same and that no one was worse off. But it seems like full and part-time workers will be worse off under this scheme because casual workers sometimes making up to $50 an hour for a barista on a public holiday Sunday, will be entitled to this sick leave on top of their current loading. So what we'll be looking for, if the government does put a levy onto the hospitality industry, reducing the loadings for casual employees in relation to sick time, because it will never be fair for an employee in Australia to be able to double dip for entitlements.
Well, I put myself through university waitressing and I was always chasing those casual hours. I always wanted to work weekends. I always wanted to work public holidays because it meant more money in my pocket. If you're the full-time salaried employer, you're not getting those loadings and the trade-off is that you get this leave. Now, of course, that's going to be a big discrepancy, but this is first paid by the taxpayer. Then the likelihood is that business will have to pay it in 2 years' time. That'll just end up at the bottom of my bill, won't it, when I go and eat out?
Look, ultimately, any cost increases to the terribly hit hospitality industry will end up on the menu and certainly coming out of consumers' pockets. The restaurant, cafe, and catering segment of accommodation food service only makes about 5% profit on average, so they certainly couldn't wear these costs. And we're certainly scratching our head at why Victorian taxpayers are willing to pay entitlements for employees. It certainly seems something that the federal government should be looking at, and the Attorney General, the IR Minister, to try to work this out, that a state is trying to get into the federal government's territory.